go carriage driving? Well, first of all, he'd take me on a different route every day. He's honestly one of the most interesting people I've ever met.
In a touching and graceful announcement that has sent waves of delight through royal enthusiasts across the globe, Lady Louise Windsor, the beloved granddaughter of the late Queen Elizabeth II, and her longtime boyfriend Felix, have shared the profoundly joyful news of their engagement. This significant milestone was decided upon after a private and deeply romantic moment shared between the two, marking the natural and heartfelt next step in their beautiful, quietly unfolding story. Renowned for her resolute commitment to keeping her personal life shielded from the intrusive glare of the public eye, the Queen's granddaughter now embarks on a radiant new chapter, one that seems woven from the very fabric of a modern fairy tale filled with genuine love, heartfelt warmth, and an understated charm that feels both timeless and refreshingly contemporary. Yet beyond the personal celebration, this engagement prompts a compelling question about its broader implications. What does this union mean for the future tapestry of the British royal family? Join us as we uncover the layers of this surprising royal engagement, a romance that beautifully reflects the evolving identity of the monarchy itself. For years, Lady Louise Windsor, the only daughter of Prince Edward and Sophie, Duchess of Edinburgh, has been admired not for seeking headlines, but for her quiet grace and profoundly down-to-earth nature. In a family often defined by ceremony and spectacle, she has consistently emerged as the royal who unassumingly prefers calm over chaos, simplicity over sparkle, and personal meaning over public fame. Unlike some of her royal relatives, Lady Louise has never appeared to seek external validation or attention. Instead, she has deliberately channeled her energy into her academic studies, her private hobbies, and the deep, abiding connections within her close-knit family. However, behind that modest smile and those gentle manners, something beautiful was quietly and steadily taking shape. A love story that began not in a gilded palace ballroom or under the flashing bulbs of paparazzi cameras, but in the most ordinary and therefore most heartwarming way imaginable. It all began several years ago when Lady Louise was pursuing her studies at the world-renowned University of St. Andrews in Scotland, the very same historic and picturesque institution that served as the backdrop for another iconic royal couple, the Prince and Princess of Wales. It seems this university, with its ancient spires and windswept shores, holds a special kind of magic when it comes to sparking royal romances destined to capture the world's imagination. Lady Louise enrolled at St. Andrews with a determined lack of fanfare, expressing a sincere desire to live as any other student would, fully immersed in academia and friendship, far away from the weight of royal expectations and protocol. She attended lectures with diligence, took thoughtful, solitary walks along the rugged coastline, and often spent quiet evenings reading or engaged in earnest conversation with a small circle of friends. It was during this formative first year at university that her path converged with that of Felix, a charming and kind-hearted young man who, from the very beginning, seemed to share many of her core interests and values. Crucially, unlike some who might have been intimidated or overly impressed by her royal lineage, Felix possessed the rare and admirable quality of treating her simply as a normal person. He did not perceive her as a distant, princess-like figure, but rather as the thoughtful, intelligent young woman she is, someone with a deep love for nature, a passion for history, and an appreciation for meaningful, substantial conversations. It was this authentic character and his warm, unpretentious sense of humor that first drew Lady Louise to him, establishing a foundation of genuine connection. Their friendship began in the simplest of ways. They would often find themselves sitting next to each other in lecture halls or arranging to meet at a favored university cafe to study, exchange ideas, and debate literature. Both were recognized by their peers as being somewhat reserved, naturally inclined towards deep, intimate talks, rather than the boisterous atmosphere of loud parties. They found common ground in a tapestry of shared passions, a mutual admiration for classic and contemporary literature, a shared reverence for the outdoors, and a particular love for horses. Lady Louise, echoing the passion of her late grandfather, the Duke of Edinburgh, has always been fervently dedicated to the sport of carriage driving, a traditional equestrian discipline in which she has excelled from a remarkably young age. To her delight, Felix did not merely acknowledge this interest from a distance. He showed a sincere interest in learning more about it, sometimes joining her during practice sessions at the grounds or accompanying her to local events. His supportive presence a quiet testament to his investment in her world. Over time, the bond between them deepened in a way that was almost imperceptible to the casual observer, yet unmistakable to those who knew them. Their classmates began to notice the subtle, caring dynamic that defined their relationship. The quiet, knowing smiles exchanged across a library table, the thoughtful way Felix always seemed to carry an extra umbrella when the famously unpredictable Scottish weather turned sour, or how Lady Louise would instinctively save a seat for him during lengthy lectures. This was not a grand, dramatic love story ripped from the pages of a fantasy novel, but something far more substantial and real. A connection that was slow-building, gentle, and built on an unwavering foundation of mutual understanding, deep respect, and a shared sense of peace. It was in these ordinary moments, in the quiet companionship of studying together, the shared laughter over coffee, and the silent understanding that passed between them, that an extraordinary partnership was being forged, setting the stage for the joyful announcement that would eventually captivate a global audience. This was not a grand, dramatic love story penned for the tabloids, but something far more profound in its authenticity. A real, patiently unfolding and gentle partnership, meticulously constructed on a foundation of mutual understanding, deep respect, and a shared sense of inner peace. Their friendship, rooted in these sturdy principles, soon blossomed into a love that was both resilient and tender. As they spent more time together, it became undeniably clear that their connection transcended mere friendship. They were not only aligned in their interests, but, more importantly, in their core values. Both inherently humble, kind, and thoughtful, they prized loyalty and sincerity above the hollow allure of luxury or fame. Felix held a profound admiration for Lady Louise's unshakable sense of duty and the calm, poised dignity she maintained despite her birth into one of the world's most scrutinized families. In turn, Lady Louise cherished Felix for his unwavering honesty and his beautifully grounded personality. He offered her the rare and precious gift of being seen and loved purely for her true self, utterly separate from her title or royal lineage. With a conscious and careful effort, their relationship remained a fiercely guarded secret for a considerable time. Lady Louise, having witnessed firsthand the often invasive nature of press attention on royal privacy, was determined to allow her relationship to mature naturally, free from external pressures and speculative headlines. Felix respected this desire completely, and together they built a partnership founded on trust, patience, and the accumulation of quiet, meaningful moments. Their bond was expressed not through public displays of affection, but in the private, unspoken language of their companionship. It was this very authenticity that family members soon noticed, observing how Lady Louise's happiness seemed to radiate whenever Felix was near. The Duchess of Edinburgh and Prince Edward were reportedly quick to welcome Felix with open arms, appreciating his evident sincerity and the positive, stabilizing influence he had on their daughter. Even the late Queen Elizabeth II, before her passing, was said to have developed a fondness for Felix after meeting him during an intimate family gathering at Windsor. The Queen, who always held a special affection for her mature and thoughtful granddaughter, found quiet joy in knowing that Louise had found a partner who offered such genuine respect and affection. As the months gracefully turned into years, their love only grew stronger and more resilient. They became one another's steadfast support system through the pressures of university exams, the demands of family events, and the inevitable personal challenges that life presented. When Lady Louise completed her degree with excellent results, Felix was there, his face filled with proud and genuine smiles, to celebrate her achievement. They built a treasury of shared memories through small, thoughtful trips, walking hand in hand through the misty trails of the Scottish Highlands, exploring hushed art galleries, and spending peaceful, unplugged weekends in the countryside. Wherever they went, they carried with them that same signature sense of calm and sincerity that had defined their connection from the very beginning. By the time they chose to officially confirm their relationship to a wider circle, those who knew them best were not at all surprised. Their deep connection had been a quiet, evident truth to anyone who paid attention. Theirs was a love that required no loud declarations or glittering headlines to validate its existence. It spoke volumes through actions, through unwavering care, and through that remarkable ability to understand each other without the need for many words. Now, as Lady Louise and Felix step into this radiant new chapter with their engagement, their story continues to capture hearts not for its spectacle, but for its profound sincerity. Why does this particular moment overflow with such unforgettable emotion? The answer lies in the heartfelt nature of the proposal itself. Every great love story has a defining chapter, a moment where two hearts consciously choose to become one forever. For Lady Louise Windsor and Felix, that unforgettable chapter was written as a deeply heartfelt proposal. It was intentionally not a grand public spectacle or a glittering event staged for cameras. Instead, it was a private, emotionally resonant, and beautifully genuine moment that perfectly reflected the essence of their quiet and sincere relationship. The setting was simple, yet breathtakingly romantic. Felix had meticulously chosen a location brimming with personal significance for them both. A quiet, secluded lakeside spot near the Scottish Highlands, where they had often sought refuge for peaceful walks during the early, formative years of their friendship. The lake, cradled by rolling green hills and serenaded by the soft whispers of nature, seemed to mirror the very qualities of their love: calm, steady, and timeless. He planned it for an early evening in late summer, when the sun lingered tenderly on the horizon, painting the sky in a watercolor wash of gold and pink. The air carried the faint, sweet scent of wildflowers, and the only sounds were the gentle chirping of evening birds and the soothing rustle of a breeze skimming the water's surface. Felix had planned every detail with immense care. Though his approach was devoid of any flashy extravagance, he knew that Lady Louise was never drawn to opulence. She valued sincerity, thoughtfulness, and quiet beauty above all else. And so, he chose nature, their favorite escape and shared sanctuary, as the only backdrop he needed. He arrived a little earlier to ensure everything was perfect. A small, rustic wooden table stood by the lake's shore, set with her favorite flowers, elegant lilies and soft pink roses, and 2 cups of steaming tea, a gentle and intimate nod to their shared love for calm evenings spent in each other's company. When Lady Louise arrived, she was met with this scene of understated beauty. Felix greeted her with his usual warm, reassuring smile, and they walked hand in hand toward the water's edge, a journey that symbolized the next beautiful steps they were about to take together. In the serene, golden hour glow of their secluded lakeside retreat, the couple's conversation flowed as naturally as the gentle waters before them. They talked, they laughed, and they reminisced with fond tenderness about the journey that had brought them to this moment. Their serendipitous meeting at St. Andrews, the gradual, steadfast growth of a friendship built on shared interests and quiet understanding, and the dawning realization that what they had cultivated was something truly rare and lasting, a love built for a lifetime. The evening air itself seemed to thrum with tenderness, and as the sun began its final descent, painting the sky in fiery hues and casting shimmering golden ripples across the lake, the most profound moment of their lives quietly unfolded. Felix, his heart pounding not with nerves, but with the sheer weight of his emotion, took a deep breath. Turning to her, his voice was soft, yet brimming with feeling, as he began to articulate all that she meant to him. He spoke of the times they had supported each other through challenges, of the easy laughter that filled their days, and of the incalculable ways she had brightened his world, giving his life a purpose and joy he had never known. Lady Louise listened, her eyes glistening with unshed tears of overwhelming love and joy, seeing the profound sincerity in his gaze and feeling every word resonate deep within her soul. The moment felt suspended in time, as if the very world had paused its turning to bear witness. Then came the question that would irrevocably change the course of their future. Felix slowly knelt, presenting a small velvet box. Inside rested a simple but exquisitely elegant ring, a piece he had personally designed with the help of a local jeweler. It was not a gaudy piece shrouded in diamonds or ornate gold filigree. Instead, it featured a single, stunning sapphire, a stone historically emblematic of strength, wisdom, and nobility, qualities that perfectly captured the essence of the woman he loved. With a voice trembling slightly from the surge of emotion, Felix gave voice to the question that had lived in his heart for so long. "Louise, will you marry me?" For a breathless moment, silence reigned, punctuated only by the gentle lap of water against the shore. Then, Lady Louise's face broke into a radiant smile through her tears, and with a voice barely above a whisper, yet filled with absolute certainty, she answered, "Yes." Felix rose, and they embraced, both utterly overcome by a wave of pure, unadulterated emotion. It was a moment so sacred and full of love it felt almost unreal, a feeling magnified as the setting sun seemed to glow with intensified brilliance, wrapping them in a celestial golden light, as if nature itself was bestowing its blessing upon their union. Afterward, they sat by the lake, hands still clasped, lingering in the beautiful aftermath of their promise. They did not need grand celebrations or an audience. In that moment, and in all the moments that truly mattered, all they needed was each other. For them, this was far more than a proposal. It was a solemn vow of a lifetime to be built side by side on their unshakable foundation of trust, mutual respect, and deep affection. Later that evening, they shared a quiet, intimate dinner, their conversation alight with laughter and hopeful plans for the future, discussing where they might live, how they would navigate the balance between private life and public duty, and all the shared dreams they hoped to build together. It was a simple, heartfelt, and profoundly warm evening, a perfect mirror of the two souls at its center. In the days that followed, when their families received the joyful news, an atmosphere of pure delight filled their homes. Prince Edward and Duchess Sophie were reported to be utterly delighted, filled with pride that their daughter had found a partner who so truly understood and cherished her for exactly who she is. While the proposal itself would not be announced with fireworks or grand royal fanfare, it had become something infinitely more meaningful, a private, emotional memory etched into their hearts forever. A perfect reflection of Lady Louise and Felix as a couple, graceful, sincere, and quietly strong. The official sharing of their joyful news with the world was handled with the same elegant understatement that defined their relationship. It was on a sunny early autumn afternoon that the official announcement emerged, with Buckingham Palace releasing a brief but beautifully worded statement. It read, "The Earl and Countess of Edinburgh are delighted to announce the engagement of their daughter, Lady Louise Windsor, to Mr. Felix. The couple became engaged earlier this week during a private and romantic moment shared between them. Both families are overjoyed, and the royal household extends its warmest congratulations." The tone was impeccably simple, elegant, and deeply personal, a perfect echo of Lady Louise's own character. In an age of social media revelations, this classic traditional touch was a poignant reminder of a timeless royal grace where sincerity spoke louder than spectacle. Moments after the palace statement, the couple released a beautifully captured photograph taken in the gardens of Windsor. In it, Lady Louise looked radiantly happy in a soft pastel dress, her gentle smile speaking volumes, while Felix stood proudly beside her, his hand holding hers. On her finger shone the delicate, timeless ring, its design and deep meaning now a public symbol of their private commitment. The image instantly captivated hearts around the globe, spreading rapidly across television networks and social media platforms, where hashtags celebrating the engagement trended worldwide. Inside the royal family, the news was met with an immense and unified wave of joy, cementing this engagement not just as a personal milestone, but as a heartwarming chapter in the modern story of the monarchy. The profound joy that greeted the engagement announcement was deeply felt within the innermost circles of the royal family, who had been privileged witnesses to the couple's journey for years. For Prince Edward and Duchess Sophie, this was the culmination of a beautiful natural evolution they had watched with quiet satisfaction. From a friendship blossoming at university to a deep and abiding love. The official confirmation of the engagement was a moment of intense emotion for the Duchess, who, according to close family sources, was moved to tears of happiness. For Sophie, this milestone represented far more than a formal announcement. It was the heartfelt beginning of a new, cherished chapter in her life as a mother and a future mother-in-law, watching her daughter step into a future filled with such promise and genuine affection. The delight was universal among their relatives. King Charles III, who has always maintained a close and affectionate bond with his niece, Lady Louise, reportedly sent a deeply personal message of congratulations, conveying his immense pride in the young couple. Queen Camilla echoed these sentiments, expressing her deep pleasure and describing Lady Louise as a bright and lovely young woman who embodies the graceful future of the monarchy with her quiet strength. Even the Prince and Princess of Wales extended their warm wishes, fondly recalling times spent together as families, and the gentle rapport Lady Louise has always shared with their children. This wave of private happiness was met with an overwhelmingly positive public reaction. What resonated most with admirers around the world was the palpable genuineness of the announcement. It was devoid of any calculated showmanship or media spectacle, reflecting instead a sincere and intimate moment between two people whose bond had been forged away from the spotlight. Online, fans were quick to praise Lady Louise for her unwavering authenticity, with one admirer capturing the prevailing sentiment by noting, "She's the kind of royal we can all relate to, humble, graceful, and full of quiet dignity." This engagement also signified a pivotal moment for the monarchy's younger generation. Lady Louise, born in 2003, has consistently been perceived as one of the institution's most grounded members. Her deliberate choice to prioritize her academic pursuits and cultivate a life defined more by normalcy than by royal privilege has long earned her widespread public admiration. In Felix, with his calm and thoughtful demeanor, she has found a partner who complements her perfectly. Their love story, rooted in a solid friendship, shared values, and mutual respect, stands as a refreshing and relatable example of modern romance within the historic framework of the royal world. As news broke, television networks and leading newspapers across Britain featured the story prominently, while small, hopeful crowds gathered near Windsor Castle on the off chance of glimpsing the newly engaged couple. True to their nature, Lady Louise and Felix chose to forego any public appearance, opting instead for a private celebration with their closest family members. An evening filled with laughter, happy tears, and the palpable, comforting sense that a new and promising royal chapter had just begun. In the ensuing days, a deluge of congratulatory messages poured in from across the globe, from world leaders and foreign royal houses to countless ordinary citizens, all united in celebrating the couple's happiness. This universal admiration for Lady Louise inevitably leads to the question, why does she consistently stand out as one of the most grounded figures in the modern royal family? In the glittering world of royalty, defined by grand ceremonies and relentless public scrutiny, Lady Louise Windsor shines through a different, more subtle light. From a very young age, she has been known not for seeking attention, but for her calm spirit, her intelligence, and her innate kindness, qualities that have earned her deep respect from both the public and within the royal circle. This is no accident. It is the direct result of a thoughtful upbringing by her parents, Prince Edward and Duchess Sophie, who were determined to provide their daughter with a sense of normalcy, balance, and humility. They gently shielded her from the more intrusive aspects of fame, fostering an environment where she could develop into a polite, composed, and deeply thoughtful individual. Those who have met her often describe her as soft-spoken, well-mannered, and genuinely kind, carrying a humility that draws frequent and favorable comparison to her late grandmother, Queen Elizabeth II, though expressed in her own uniquely modern way. Her educational path has been instrumental in shaping this identity. After attending St. George's School in Windsor and St. Mary's School in Ascot, where she was recognized for both her academic diligence and her kind nature, she enrolled at the University of St. Andrews to study English literature. This choice reflected her love for language and the human experience, and her time there allowed her to live with a valued independence, blending seamlessly into student life. Friends and classmates consistently note that she earned respect through her intelligence and character, not her title, actively participating in the normal rhythms of university life. Despite her reserved nature, she has always understood her duties, appearing at major events like the Platinum Jubilee and the funeral of her grandfather, Prince Philip, with a quiet dignity and emotional maturity that have deeply impressed the public. Furthermore, her authenticity is cemented by her genuine passions and hobbies, which range from carriage driving, a passion shared with her late grandfather, to a love of literature and the outdoors, painting a portrait of a well-rounded individual who finds fulfillment beyond the palace gates. Indeed, one of the most defining aspects of Lady Louise's character is her profound passion for carriage driving, a sport she inherited directly from her grandfather, the Duke of Edinburgh. Prince Philip, a renowned enthusiast, personally instructed her, forging a bond over shared dedication and skill. Her continued participation in competitions serves as a living tribute to his memory and a testament to their close relationship. This pursuit reveals a depth beyond mere hobby. It signifies her reverence for tradition, her connection to her family's legacy, and her appreciation for pursuits that are built on discipline and heartfelt commitment rather than public acclaim. This grounded nature is further reflected in her strong family unit. Alongside her younger brother, James, Earl of Wessex, She is part of a closely knit family of four, renowned for its supportive and normal dynamic. The Duchess of Edinburgh has often spoken of a conscious effort to raise their children with as much normality as possible, a philosophy from which Lady Louise has clearly flourished. She possesses a mature understanding of her royal role, but deliberately refuses to let it circumscribe her entire identity, navigating her life with a quiet, purposeful confidence that is very much her own. What truly sets Lady Louise apart in the contemporary royal landscape is her masterful fusion of innate royal grace with genuine, unpretentious simplicity. In an era where social media fame and public image are often paramount, she charts a different course, consciously valuing her privacy, the pursuit of education, and the cultivation of meaningful relationships above all. Her calm and natural demeanor is not a cultivated persona, but an authentic reflection of her character, making her a refreshing figure. She embodies a new archetype for royalty, one that prioritizes authenticity over mere popularity and purpose over appearance. As she matures into her public role, many observers see in her a shining example for the monarchy's future. Modern in her outlook, yet deeply respectful of tradition, graceful, yet unequivocally grounded. Her journey thus far represents a beautiful and successful balancing act between the expectations of her birthright and the pursuit of personal growth. And it is evident that this is only the commencement of a truly remarkable story. This naturally leads to the question of her partner, Felix. Who is he, and what makes him such a seamless fit within Lady Louise's carefully curated world? When people envision royal romances, they often picture grand gestures and fairy tale settings. In stark contrast, the love story of Lady Louise Windsor and Felix is one that began and flourished in quiet authenticity, far from the flash of cameras. Felix is not a prince, nor an aristocrat. He is, by all accounts, an ordinary young man possessed of an extraordinary heart, one that has effortlessly won the affection of one of the monarchy's most admired young women. His background is both simple and quietly inspiring. Born into a loving, well-educated family that instilled in him the core values of kindness, respect, and hard work, Felix was raised to be humble and thoughtful. He pursued a degree in environmental science, a field that speaks volumes about his character, revealing a love for the natural world, a concern for the planet, and a quiet determination to contribute meaningfully. It is also an interest he happily shares with Lady Louise. Their paths first converged through mutual friends during their university years. Felix was immediately drawn to Lady Louise's gentle intelligence, and unlike those who might be intimidated by her lineage, he interacted with her with natural ease and respect. His approach was not one of flattery or ostentation, but of genuine connection. He made her laugh, listened intently, and, most importantly, saw the person before the title. This authenticity put Lady Louise at ease, a quality she profoundly values. Described by those who know him as calm, polite, and quietly confident, Felix possesses a warm sense of humor and a kind spirit that puts people at ease. His passions for hiking, cycling, and sailing dovetail perfectly with Lady Louise's own love for the outdoors, and they have often been seen enjoying long conversational walks in Windsor Great Park, relishing the chance to escape formality and simply be themselves. What ultimately makes Felix such a perfect match is the seamless blending of their worlds and values. Lady Louise, the most grounded of the young royals, finds in Felix a partner who mirrors her own down-to-earth attitude. He does not seek the spotlight, nor does he leverage her status for personal gain. Instead, he admires her for her mind, her kindness, and her authentic self. This mutual respect has been noticed and welcomed by her family. Prince Edward and Duchess Sophie are said to hold him in high regard, appreciating his sincerity, his impeccable manners, and, above all, the respectful and loving way he treats their daughter. He has been integrated into family gatherings with an unassuming ease that further confirms he is not there for the spotlight, but for the woman he loves. The royal family, an institution deeply rooted in tradition and quiet dignity, seems to recognize in Felix the very qualities it has always purported to cherish: unwavering loyalty, genuine humility, and a profound sense of discretion. Friends close to the couple consistently describe their love as both real and remarkably steady, a partnership built not on public spectacle, but on a bedrock of mutual trust and shared quiet dreams. They function as a true support system for one another's ambitions. Lady Louise continues to navigate her academic pursuits and nascent public duties with characteristic grace, while Felix diligently advances his career in the meaningful field of environmental research. Crucially, they both possess a mature understanding of the delicate balance required between a cherished private life and public responsibility. It is this shared, unspoken understanding that has forged a relationship noted for its strength, maturity, and profound mutual respect. The wave of joy emanating from this engagement was felt from the inner corridors of Buckingham Palace to the far reaches of the globe. Within the historic palace walls, the news was met with shared familial delight. Official statements prominently highlighted the happiness of the couple's immediate family, with Prince Edward and Duchess Sophie described as utterly delighted. The extended royal family, including cousins and senior members, echoed this sentiment, sending personal messages of love and support. The palace itself carefully framed the engagement as a private yet very happy moment, underscoring the family's collective pride and encouragement for the couple as they embarked on this new chapter. Beyond the palace gates, royal fans worldwide erupted in celebration. Social media platforms became a vibrant tapestry of congratulatory messages, with hashtags trending globally as admirers shared photos and fond memories of Lady Louise's public appearances. The couple was widely praised for their understated style and the palpable authenticity of their connection, with many noting how their engagement reflected a modern, relatable side of royal life that resonates deeply in the 21st century. This celebration took creative forms, from fan art and organized virtual parties to the sharing of personal stories that connected individual experiences of love with the couple's narrative. Global news coverage was extensive, with headlines from London to Tokyo celebrating the romance's elegance and its significance in showcasing a royal who remains grounded even as she steps into a new role. The announcement was widely interpreted as a perfect blend of tradition and modernity, a narrative that appealed not only to dedicated royal watchers, but also to the general public. This international outpouring, with messages flooding in from Europe, North America, Asia, and Africa, demonstrated the vast, cross-cultural reach of the British royal family's influence and the powerful appeal of a genuine love story. This moment, however, transcends personal celebration and carries profound symbolic weight for the monarchy's future. The engagement of Lady Louise Windsor signals a notable shift in the values, priorities, and image of the institution as it moves forward. Her journey has always been admired for its grounded nature and thoughtful approach, and her union with Felix highlights how modern royals are increasingly balancing centuries-old tradition with personal choice and contemporary societal expectations. Perhaps the most significant aspect of this engagement is its powerful reflection of personal freedom and genuine connection. In stark contrast to earlier eras where marital alliances were often strategic, this union places love, compatibility, and shared values at the forefront. This evolution resonates powerfully with the public, demonstrating a monarchy becoming more in tune with modern life and proving that its members can follow their hearts while still honoring family and duty. For the next generation of royals, Lady Louise sets a compelling precedent. She represents a cohort that has grown up under intense scrutiny, yet has managed to carve a path defined by individuality and emotional well-being. Her choices send a clear message. It is possible to honor royal traditions while also embracing personal fulfillment. This shift is mirrored in changing public perceptions. Today, audiences admire royals not just for their ceremonial roles, but for their relatability, empathy, and ability to navigate ordinary life within extraordinary circumstances. By celebrating this engagement, the public is endorsing a version of royalty that feels authentic and approachable, where values like love, partnership, and mutual respect are central to the institution's modern identity and its continued relevance. Furthermore, the engagement demonstrates an evolution in gender expectations within the family. Lady Louise, known for her intelligence and composure, has chosen a partner who complements her personality rather than overshadowing it, highlighting a modern approach to royal partnerships where equality, shared responsibility, and mutual support are paramount. This conveys a powerful message about the agency and influence of women within the royal structure. Ultimately, Lady Louise's engagement is about more than romance. It is a signal of a royal family evolving to meet the expectations of a modern world. It represents an institution learning to value authenticity and individual choice, while continuing to honor its historical duties. For the next generation, this moment serves as both inspiration and a guiding principle, that one can uphold royal responsibilities while fully embracing personal happiness, modern values, and equitable partnerships.